Here we are,
That's
folks.
Really easy one to say.
Hey, welcome.
Oh my God, are we on air now?
Yeah, we are.
Wow.
What an entrance!
No theme song, no nothing.
I know we rolled right in tonight.
That's how we roll.
Do I need
All right,
headphones?
there we
I probably don't need headphones, do I?
Well, so, do you get headphones there, young lady?
I
Right
do.
there.
Do
All
I
right.
need them? I
Yes,
hear myself.
well, of course you
all
can.
the
Yeah.
time. I know what I sound like.
I know.
But you're going to be able to correct the rest
There
of
you
us. Yeah.
go. Now we all got the fancy radio voice.
So welcome, folks. Welcome. I'm Sean,
And I'm Dave.
And I'm Mo.
and we have a very special guest with us here tonight. We have the lovely, the talented Nicolle Bellefontaine from Jack at 92.9 FM. This is going to be a fun episode. We're calling this Episode 2, All the Unanswered Questions. So, without further ado. So, Mo, before we get started, we were supposed to be on with Nicolle last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you had a mishap. Why don't you tell all our viewers
It's
about that?
round 2 of the Monster Eye, and so last week I was just a little too soon, and even tonight I'm starting to feel normal again, so that's great. And you look rather handsome tonight, so I know my eye's working. So.
Yeah, well, my eye's all messed up. It's Mo and I are going to have, what'd you call it today?
Yeah, what's it called?
The eyes have it.
The eyes have it. The pirate eye duke off it, yeah.
The one-eyed bandits.
Oh. So anyway, here we are. And we covered a lot of racetrack there last time. I think we hit some stuff. We had some very good feedback from some people. Let's jump right in.
Because there's probably a lot of talking to be done with the four of us. As I was thinking earlier, so there's a lot of A's and D's and H's and D's going on here tonight within the four of us.
Yeah.
We all like to talk, so it should be pretty cool. I guess the big news is as of, yesterday, I guess, we have a
Saturday. Now, he hasn't been sworn in yet.
No, designation. Yep, the new premier
Ian Rankin.
designate. Yep.
Will be the new premier of the province. And all this was
Young
going
blood.
on. Young blood, we'll see. He's the Green candidate. I think that a lot of people said that he was a statement that it's going to be a change from what happened the last 7 years. So we'll see. One of the things that I made mention of, not one of them had anything in their platform of what we've been discussing about getting live entertainment in the bars and hospitality sector back in the swing of things. So hopefully we'll see a change there.
Well, with this fellow's last name and his first cousins are the Rankins, so I mean, there's probably an opportunity for us to maybe talk to him.
Oh, go for the cheese right away. I love it. Awesome. Nicolle. Did you follow it at all?
Did I follow
The whole Premier
no.
Duke?
Well, I mean, I was aware of it, it happened on the weekend. I need a break, man. I get that stress wedgie of whatever stuff all week long. I don't need it on the weekend. I was like, oh yeah, that happened.
Stress wedgie. I love that.
Well, so here's what happened. And I'm going to sound very studious and learned, but Labby Casoulas, they thought was going to make a run. He was knocked out in the first. Sorry, that's not true. Randy Delory, who they felt was more in line with our current fella, was knocked right out, and it came down to Labby Casoulas and Ian Rankin pulled it out in the end. That doesn't sound right, but anyway. So, that being said, yeah. Anyway.
Derailed. In a moment, everything's derailed.
Right. We have to take it up a notch here. Mo's on his phone. It threw me for a loop. How does a guy with one eye read his phone?
I'm just trying to getting all our avenues of communication going here.
So
Looking for questions and answers.
Okay, so there you go. So we had this petition going. You were when we had you on probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. You gave a big shout out. You actually had some very, very. I'm not going to say I was surprised, but you didn't pull any punches with your sort of viewpoint on it.
I have opinions.
Well, please.
And that's why you're here,
We've learned
actually.
that everyone has opinions.
That's why you're here.
It is. These
Okay,
are just my opinions,
somebody's
so.
phone volume's up.
Probably mine. See, we're a professional.
Was that yours last week?
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So Nicolle, go ahead, because you had some very good points about what you felt was going on.
Well, you were talking about the fact that none of these candidates had really focused on the arts, and what I had said in our original interview back in December, and that is arts is never a priority. So you can be guaranteed in a pandemic, you have to scrabble for it even more so. I think the fact that you guys have this group is really pivotal because ultimately what has to happen is it has to come from the people, right? So people watch this, people get engaged. They realize now, finally, freakingly, people realize, holy crap, I've missed having a life. So it's like a reset. So people are going to go, okay, it's time for us to go see a live show. When was the last time we did it? People make a million excuses for it, especially in our age group,
And
right?
we're, and
You
we're
make a
not
million
talking about
excuses.
like a guy sitting on a stool in a restaurant. We're talking about a show, a live show. Yeah.
Absolutely a show, because it's the Maritimes and there's so much talent and there's so many bands that are and performers that are willing to put it out there and show up and put on a show.
That's right.
So it's not like there's a shortage of opportunities. There's just a shortage of opportunities to see them now, and I think that people are really. I think people are hungry for it. Absolutely, they're hungry for it. We're all very aware of our mortality, and you only live once. And sweet, merciful Jesus, like, stop putting off everything, going, oh, eventually, I'm going to go see whatever and whatever. Yeah. Stop being so ambivalent, right? Like, it's time. And ultimately, if you feel that, and that's what this platform is really good for, then people go, okay, well, how can I help? How can I kind of be invested? And so, like I said to you guys before, your Facebook page is fantastic, because what it does is I get reminders all the time. Everybody who posts on your page, I get a reminder. But at the same time, going forward, those gigs, right? I'm hearing about the gigs.
Right.
Finally, I'm not going to go looking for it, because most people don't. Unless you work hardcore into it and you follow a particular artist, which I know people do.
Sure.
Right? And there's so much work for a performer, because you can't just like book a gig and show up. You got to tell everybody. You got to organize everything. I'm sure you have to buy
You're right.
insurance or some kind of shenanigans. I have no idea, but there's a lot more to it. And it's changed because now you're competing with everybody else and every other entertainment stream, like these, whatever's on our computers and on our phones.
Social media is the new advertising, because, I mean, the bar owners, well, whether they have the money or not, they just don't do it. So it's just kind of up to you as the performer, as the artist, to...
I mean, it's good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good, but it's unfortunate
But it's
that you have
extra
to
work.
do... Exactly.
It's even more work.
Yeah.
So
You wanna
if you
talk
give
about
people
work.
something to, if you give people something, it's up to you guys now to kind of push your fans,
Well,
because the
you're preaching to the
legislators
choir
aren't
here.
going to.
You're preaching to the choir. I've never seen two guys work so hard to sell a gig.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're selling out your shows, right? But mind you, and the guys in the D2K doing the Kiss show,
Yep.
and all the bands that are trying to put on a show. I've seen everybody that's done a gig. That's because we are blessed, and we are the envy of the world. We know that we actually have a little bit of entertainment. But what I'm noticing is that when you do see a band play at a bar like Monty's or a venue in the city, everything sells out. But not because people. I mean, yes, people are starving for entertainment. Don't get me wrong, but you're selling tickets a little higher in price, because your seating is a premium and all
That's
that.
right.
But I've never seen people work so hard to sell a show. Now, we didn't work that hard before. We just expected people just to sashay off the street, and they never did before. And we were playing half-empty houses a lot. Now, everything's selling out. Is it because people are dying to come see the entertainment, or is it because the entertainment is dying to do a show, and they'll do it at all costs? You guys have lost sleep promoting your shows, and I commend you for that.
No big deal.
I commend you for that.
Well, thanks, Mo. And I mean, here's the thing. I was a little concerned when everything opened up that
So
it
that's
would
a
go
question
back to
and
the,
an answer, right?
Well, no, but it's perfect. Now, hopefully, somebody's get a stream going that we can get some comments. Because
Yeah, I'm looking. That's what I
Okay.
did. And
My concern was that it was going to go back to everybody panicking, and then the gigs would come, and then our friends would go back to kind of like waiting for the phone to ring. It hasn't really happened. In the case of Monty's, and we're going to give some plugs out here. We mentioned our live show in July, that sold out.
Yep.
Every other show that was there sold out. Then there was the cutoff. The first one's Dress to Kill. They're sold out officially.
Yep.
Phenomenal band.
Yeah, phenomenal band.
And
They're
it's a great example, because that is a room that doesn't have a history of selling out unless it's a feature act coming from out of town or something. It's a hard place to sell.
Well, the thing is, too, Dave and I have been sellouts since '86, so it kind of goes hand in fist with what we've been trying to do. But, right? I was just waiting for somebody to say it. But then the 20th, they have the 19th and the 20th, they have Gypsy, Fleetwood Mac.
Yep.
And then the 27th, a concept that Dave and I, when we started this, we had this idea that when everything opened up again, we could put a band together and go out and promote the bar with the band, so we could take the whole week, do a big splash, and that's resonating with people. So we're almost sold out. Side Hustle, February 27th at Monty's.
And 245 Waverly Road in
partnership.
Dartmouth.
Great partnership, fantastic.
Right.
Nancy Arrett, Bruce,
and
Zach Lacey, what we got,
Steve
Steve
Ruxton.
Ruxton.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
What
that guy.
amazing
So give a plug out to Steve. So Steve,
All of them.
last week, I don't know if you knew this or not. So he does a lot of nature photography.
I bought one.
Yeah. So he called me and he said, I want to get this calendar up, but I can't afford to do it. So we signed a deal with a company called ePrint It, Greg Sinclair, and he called up Greg. Greg gave him a deal. So basically, he put a soft show to 25 people at $25.
I think it's sold in an hour. I think you
55.
sold out just like
55.
that.
Well, no, he wanted
Oh,
25
that's what
people
you
at
wanted.
25.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't interrupt and listen to the rest of it, you'll get
Do you
it.
know me? That's kind of what I do.
Yeah. Anyway, he's got 55 and he's almost at 60. And he couldn't have been more. And there's a guy who, everything he does at Monty's is wicked. I mean, some of the pictures you see are
You should
fantastic.
do a band one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about that.
There you go.
Right. See. So we're not quite as dumb as we look.
No. And ePrint, good for you guys to help them out too. Right?
Absolutely.
And they're
so
on the banner. You can see they're one of the sponsors.
They
here.
are. So here's my point. I don't think anybody's sitting on their butt doing nothing. To your point, Maurice, we've been promoting all this stuff. They're our friends.
Even this Barstool and Ben Talk. It's all you guys have been doing since this thing started. You've learned how to promote yourselves in a big way.
April 28th, is when we started, and we all heard the story why we started. I mean, it was in the midst of COVID and all the stuff that was happening in Portapic, and we needed to have a positive distraction for people. This is kind of why we started this whole thing, it's to protect our own sanity, and we never had a clear focus about what it was going to do, where it was going to go, and as we go and pivot and change and adjust and whatever. It's always been about the arts and entertainment for sure, and to give our friends a voice, and is it thankless? Yeah, a little bit. As we, between
And
Sean
you'll
and
always
I,
have
we
haters.
put
And you'll have
another,
haters.
8-10 hours a day, is what we do
The
on top
success
of our
of it
full-time jobs,
will
right?
kind of wear you out at some point, right? Like it is something you do kind of have to go. It's okay. You can't reinvent the wheel overnight, right? Like give
But
yourself a lot of credit for how much effort you.
But
you have
here's something
invested
that's
and how
funny
it's
about
evolved.
that. Dave and I were going overboard with the live hits because everything shut down. It's like, what are we going to do? Let's do a live hit. Let's show us flipping burgers. We're going to shovel. You name it. It was
That
silly.
stuff though too.
They do.
They
Should
do.
have started this thing on TikTok.
Well, yeah, that's right. We'd be gazillionaires. We stopped to start promoting some of these shows, and people started saying, "Where are the live hits?" And we're going
Right.
so it's to your point. I mean, it's not that what we're doing is so great or so original, but I mean, it's something for people to log into and look at. And I think
Well,
it's
what's
cool.
great about it is that people can, if they want, they can participate and comment and ask questions, and
Yeah.
they
Absolutely.
can be, so it's interactive, and people like to
Even when you do
go
live
behind
streams.
the veil, right? And what's the conversation? And I know it's local. It's not some random people off on the internet, and you don't know them, and you have no connection to
That's
them.
right.
This is much more. It's intimate, sort of.
Yeah.
Well, I'd
But
like
not
to.
weird.
I'd like to
I
give.
mean, it could, I don't know. I have a feeling it can get weird.
It was kind of weird 5 minutes ago, but we pulled. Sorry, we're gonna get right off that. Anyway, I want to give my first shout out here, Junior Leclerc, he's been on our show before. Junior is a legendary DJ. Al Joins Junior. They were in Toronto. He's a host of at a bar called the Rock Pile that has been shut down up there, and hopefully they get back soon. But Junior's a guy that supported us from afar. Friends with the Boys in Rush and Triumph and Killer Dwarfs, and I mean, and had a million stories, and we do have to get him on for another go. But my point is John Biggs, another fellow, local guy who gave us a nice shout out here. So we're very mindful of what's going on, and we got to be.
Bellefontaine gave us a nice shout out. Tom
Did she ever?
Bedell.
Well, yes.
Tom Bedell,
Yeah.
Rick Howe. Yeah, we've had just reading the folks from CTV. It's nice to see mainstream media kind of picking up on what we're doing because it's important. It's important to get the message out, right?
Well, you just hit on something too. It's the immediacy of it. I do live stream concerts and stuff at home, and everybody knows my Monday night streams and all that. And I do that, and half the charm of it isn't. I mean, even if I sing the same songs every week, which I try not to, but the fact of the matter is as soon as I'm singing, I was watching Jeff Bonang yesterday, and Maurice is watching, and click, 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 how you doing? Blah, blah. Next thing there's a conversation, there's banter happening live on the show,
Yeah.
and that doesn't even happen on radio like that, but the immediacy of the interaction between your audience and all this is what's I think's driving the social media to the point that technology is probably going to change at some point, that you're going to see even mainstream radio and television is going to take on some sort of a more kind of, because people are going to expect the immediate interaction between the show
Sure.
and themselves, and I think
It's
that's
changed already.
It's changed already, which is where and this is a perfect night where you're on here, and this is what you do. Since this started, and you're kind of competing with this too. I mean, Tom Bedell was telling me this. You're almost in competition with social media now, because it's a form of entertainment that, you know, it's either trying to get airtime like everybody else. Have you noticed, being on the air, doing on a daily basis, doing your show, have you noticed a change in any of that? Like where you're on the air, like do you notice that people are like, well, let's say, well, they'll call in, and when you might hear from them once a week, all of a sudden they're hanging on because they've made a connection with you, and it's all they got going on right now, and they're like, especially when it was locked down.
So I want to point out that when it comes to radio is the ultimate of the electronic survivors. Radio was the first electronic medium,
Probably the last.
and it might be the last. It is the one that survives every,
You can do it with tubes.
with all due respect to social media, and I know that's what we're on right now. When the power goes out,
That's right.
right?
You can wind one of you can
We've
wind up-
survived. The radio has survived television. It survived 8 tracks, because I'm that old, in your cars. Remember that back in a million years ago? Cassettes, CDs,
Yeah.
MP3 players, satellite radio, digital
It's the ultimate form of
streaming.
communication.
It survives, but it's because it evolves. So to that end, yes, it is changing. It's changing all the time. You know, when you were on air a million years ago, nobody knew what you looked like, and that was usually a very good thing, right? You were hired not for your looks. But with that said, things have changed, and so now we all have to be able to be comfortable in front of a camera and create content that then dovetails with on air. Like, I don't want to do anything that's just online. It has to go back and support my show. But again, you know, to your point about people wanting to have a connection with you, I mean, you guys have groupies and stuff. Like, there's always people that
They
go,
line up.
right? They're just sort of enamored with it, and it's awkward. Sweet mercy, it's awkward.
Yeah, you didn't sign up for that,
But you
did
just,
you?
you know,
have groupies
whatever.
now, Nicolle. You don't kid me.
Come
I've
on.
never
You know?
seen anybody in my life work harder to get groupies than Dave, and this goes back to even when we played. I want to point out a couple things, though. You're sitting there saying 8 tracks in your age. You and I are alumni from Prince Andrew High School.
That's right.
You graduated the
bringing
year
that up.
after me, so I'm older than you are. We won't say the year; it doesn't really matter.
right, it doesn't.
Great school. The second thing I got to point out, he mentioned Jeff. Jeff was he got the first 32 thumbs up. Way to go from Barstools and Band Talk. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. There's that word again. Dale Lynch.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Do you all feel you have a larger responsibility other than the HRM Nova Scotia areas in helping to get things out and up and running? I do.
That's really good. That's really good.
It is, and anybody knows Dale. Dale is again East Coaster. Works with Michael Bublé when he is actually working. Great guy, and he's in Ontario. And I want to read the rest of what he says. You'll be the first to help find solutions to present to government, which is no small feat. You know what? That's what we're hoping. We are hoping that. But one of the things to that end, yes, we had Andy DeVoe on that time, and we were trying to do a simple thing. We were trying to get them to light City Hall up in red.
Yeah.
We were able to get that happen through Andy's work, and then it just kind of stopped. And and that was my fear, that when everything opened up again, some of the musicians would wait for help, and some of them this time, I think they get the message that, okay, we get shut down the first time, it could happen again.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's digging in and working harder. But yes,
They're
Dale,
talking about this third wave, maybe. Who knows?
Well, Newfoundland today, 30
Yeah.
new cases. Like,
yeah,
How many?
It can
30
happen.
new cases in one day.
And it can happen quickly. Yeah.
It's just like that.
And
People
we'll-
have to understand COVID is not going to be going away entirely.
No.
It's going to continue to morph and change. And
We're gonna have to change with it,
We
though.
have to change with it, and we still have to be able to have an economy. We still have to be able to have a life.
Yes.
So stop the moaning and bitching about masks and social distancing, and we got to find a way to work within it. And we have summer, 2 months of the year? So outside,
That's
we
right.
are.
That's right.
That
I mean, I
a
was
little
thinking
facetious,
I
but-
touched on that last time, and it's just they're starting to talk about it now. But to some degree, you'll end up carrying a card in your wallet, and it'll be like, if you want to get in here, you have to show
Yeah.
that the last 12 hours you've been tested.
God.
And it's not. We can't go away. All we can do is diminish the odds of getting affected by it, and like rapid testing or whatever. It's going to become a bit of a part of our lives even for a while, which kind of sucks, right?
Well, here you
But
go,
we
Mo.
have to get adjusted to it, you know.
Diana Johnson. I'm from Fall River and moved to Calgary a year ago. I miss getting out to hear live music. And hats off to you all, including Bruce at Monty's. I went to high school with Bruce and John. I say be safe, let the music play. I have heard Maurice play several times at festivals with the Persuaders.
That's cool. We got to keep moving. Then you said it. We got to get the economy going. We can't, if we're going to try, like the thing is, we have to be sensible about it. We got to, we got to look at it in the like being responsible in the fact that, of course, you're not going to be able to stop every single case. Okay, we know that. But what you can do is find a way that, with responsible thinking and get used to it. Like right now, I literally start putting my mask on when I roll up to the drive-through window.
Yeah, you said that before.
Because the person that's serving me feels that it's a politeness thing now. It's almost becoming like a courtesy. And we've come a long way that we can do that now, because there was so many people that fought against us and still are.
Well,
but
they'll talk about their civil rights are being,
Yeah, but I mean, we're slowly understanding that it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
And let's say if they have like a card system, it seems so against their civil liberties, but I want to go in that bar and get in the mosh pit. And I've been tested. I was just tested 12 hours ago. Okay, there should be some sort of thing. It's not 100%, but man, it's got to be like close enough that we got to make a compromise for the economy, not just here, because we have less to complain about than they do in Calgary, in Ontario.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of way that things are starting to go. And I think if you have a responsible society, I think we can find some way that you can keep a check on it. And you can get people out there. And it's like, not everybody wants to go out and drink and go to bars every night, but damn it, a lot of people do.
Sure.
Sometimes they're going to need it.
And,
sometimes it's a healing thing. It's sometimes just a way to socialize, right?
Some cool stuff is coming in here. So our buddy Pat O'Brien. I'm currently in quarantine in downtown Halifax. So, hey, Pat, when you get out, bud, we're going to get that beer we've been talking about. I can hear the music from the bars playing up into my room. Live music is alive and well in downtown Halifax. Good on you guys, as you are a great part of this. So that's very nice. Thanks, Pat. And we got to hook up with, he's in Halifax. So that's awesome. And to that point, I remember, masks sort of start and everybody's saying, I don't want to wear a mask. And there's some really cool things that are going on with masks. So for example, we do the KISS thing there. We did a little pseudo press conference at Monty's. They redid the Dynasty cover with the masks that they got. That's right. Right? So there's some cool stuff going on where it's like, it's going to be around. You might as well make the best of it and, and just do the right thing.
I have some for sale.
What great merchandise. Hey, why not?
I got merch. It's you used to have T-shirts. Now you get masks and T-shirts.
We're walking.
PM me. I'll send you a mask.
But really, what a great way to support a local artist.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, why not wear it on your face?
That's right.
Yeah. Especially if
I
make sure the staff get them for free, so when they're serving drinks, they know who's.
You know what? And I have to say something.
Right.
So I'm an '80s child. I grew up hair metal. I've been meaning to say this for a while. We had Ron Keel on the show, who was a guy that I grew up listening to. The two guys that are the best self-promoters or promote anybody that I've ever met in my life are Ron Keel and Maurice Aucoin.
I was going to say, that'll be them right there.
Honest to God, I didn't even have a cup when I came here tonight, and I bought this, and Maurice convinced me to buy it. So that's just the power of that fella is.
Well, what we need is more of these. See, I can give some of these away on my show to some of my guests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and to that end, if I could add just a little comment, and that's because you're very confident in what you're doing, and you own it, and you understand that you have to promote it. Unfortunately, what seems like a lot of performers, artists in general, but definitely performers, they've got confidence on stage, but they're not so quick to promote when they're not.
Okay,
and that's really a huge part of what you do. Listen, I've been in radio a million years in this market. Like, I've been in this market.
And
for
you're a
long
natural
time.
at it. It's your job. It's what you do. It's your
But-
calling.
But that's very sweet. But the reality is that it's something that I've had to really work at my own self-promotion and my own brand. And I understand it. I've been in radio for freaking literally 31 years. I've been in radio. And it's only been since I joined Jack, actually, that I felt, okay, now's the time. Like, if I'm going to do anything with myself and my brand, and I think that anyone who's really wants to get a toehold on their career in promoting what they're doing is to do exactly that. You guys have actually set a gold standard and a path to show people how to do it, because you came out of nowhere. And now you're selling out your shows. You've got your sponsorship. So that's stuff that maybe you would not have been maybe pushed to do before in the same way.
That's
and
a
now
fair statement.
you're actually creating a model of this is how you do it, folks. Like, you want to know how to do it?
That's a
This is
fair
how you do
statement.
it.
Thank you for pointing that out. And before we go on to promoting the show, just like we rehearsed it. But the one thing, and I said this when we were interviewing you, a lot of people, when they talk about you as a radio personality, and you came in here, what you see is what you get. So there's not Nicolle on air and then Nicolle. You're the same Nicolle every time, and I think that resonates with people. And if you got something to say, you say it. And I think that works for you. Do you get that feedback a lot when you're?
I think people are surprised. Griff and Caroline are the same way. Our morning show, our station, really, our personalities really are who we are. So good luck with that.
I love your
right?
station.
You know,
I
like,
seriously do.
it's not. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but who cares?
Yep.
Right? You can't be disingenuous. Life is too short. You have to step into who you are and go, all right, I hope you're ready. Right?
That's it.
Right? And that's the same thing with performing.
You have a responsibility too. Like you have a routine. You have your show comes on at a certain time of the day. You have a time slot. Most radio personalities must understand that responsibility because there's people that their lives go around your schedule, like people on the drive home or people on the
absolutely.
drive with you, and those people are listening to you every day. And if you have a bad day, you know what I mean. They're going to notice that because they know you. They know your personality from listening to you every day. And I'm sure that's I'm not putting any pressure on you. Like that's for your job, but you obviously you must understand that.
I do.
But that's it's, as much as it's a responsibility. It's probably gives you a sense of pride when you help somebody through, like pandemic, for example. This is a crazy time. People listen to they're listening to a voice, like especially people that are shut in and all that. That's their thing, you know. And then
You partner with them, really, Nicolle. Like you're the accountability partner for them. I'm sure in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
The beauty, I guess the thing that I
You
would
can
say
help people
radio
out.
and radio and music have in common is that it's a very intimate medium, right? Like people don't put you on a pedestal.
And you're not scripted.
You're not scripted, but it's like I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to a crowd. I'm talking to one person. So it is a very intimate medium, and so they do have a sense that they know me, and I give them as much of me as I feel is appropriate. You know, I don't necessarily, to be honest with you, it's been brutal this last couple of years, but the last year in particular has been. It's tested me as a human being, and it's tested me as a broadcaster.
Two
but
levels.
I actually think, and I think that, you try to find that line between what is appropriate level of positive sunshine when everything is cascading around, right? Like Portapique, that was singularly the most devastating time I've ever been on air. I was like September 11th, like that day I was on the air that night. Like I've had some wild times in my career, but nothing compares to that. Absolutely nothing compares to that. We were everybody was like, I think, numb in shock for weeks after that. And fortunately, we were told it's okay to let your emotions out on the air, even though that's not our format and it's not our brand. But
it's not your
eventually-
plan, yeah.
And trying to find how to bring, a bit of a
sense of
an
humanity.
escape,
Yep.
but still have context.
Yep.
Do you know, like trying to find that balance?
I guess a double whammy.
brutal.
Like you're trying to give them words of encouragement, hope, but they want the facts, they want the news,
Right.
they want the reality of it, and not only that, you got to go home and
Be a human
and
being.
be a human being yourself.
Yeah.
And
Although
that's a
when I'm on
lot
air-
of pressure.
When I'm on air, though, it's like, honestly, for me, because it's not about me, I can step outside of my personal crap, right?
Yeah.
And, I have a personal life on top of a pandemic.
Yes, you do.
And with that said, I just, when you make it about the listener, you get out of your own nonsense and you kind of focus on them. And that's it. So I'm blessed. I feel very privileged. I feel so privileged that anybody would listen to my show. I think that that's just the greatest thing ever. And if somebody, where's the camera? If you're listening to a radio station in the afternoon and you don't feel like they love you, you come to me. I'll take care of you. I'll be your sunshine. Don't you worry. I love you already.
By the way, Steve Gibbons.
You had me at
Steve
Jack.
Gibbons says you rock. Steve Gibbons says you rock. Steve Gibbons is a great guy. My very first band I played in a band with Steve Gibbons. And,
Sweet.
yeah. Anyway, he says you rock, and you do. And just to add on that, I remember exactly how that felt. You brought up Portapique. And I remember that was a day I scheduled to do a live stream. It was a rough day for me. We were still in the middle of it. I think we were bubbling, and Leslie wasn't with me that day. And because it was just, and I felt quite alone. And I'd put a little blurb on. I was going to do my live stream. That was the day I was going to do it, and I was all set up and ready to go. And the news reel is going. This thing is unfolding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time I went on the air, it was in an afternoon. I just like a 4 o'clock thing. I remember what it was. It was a time of day, or it was just like now it's like the death toll, the death count is going up. I said, this is insane. And I turned my camera on, and I'm singing songs of joy and hope and doing it. And I felt so stupid for a little while. I said, and then I realized after about 20 minutes, a couple of people mentioned, said, please don't stop.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Absolutely.
This
And I
is-
was
yeah.
like, I felt like, man, I'm trying to, I want to crane my neck and see what's on the TV screen, and I'm doing my show, and I'm thinking like, this seems so inappropriate. Like here I am singing, my songs, and hey, everybody, and meanwhile, this news, this horrible thing is happening, and there's people saying, please don't stop. And it was really eerie.
really
It was
cool.
really, but that's probably what you
It's a
feel
sur-
like.
it's a
the
surreal.
same thing that
Yeah.
you go through
It's
when you're on the
surreal.
air, and I hope I never have to go through that again.
No,
It was
I
really,
agree.
really weird.
But at a smaller scale, people have that kind of partnership with you. I'm sure every day, and it doesn't have to be traumatic events like Portapique, what have you. It's just something like an accountability, like almost like I said earlier, the accountability aspect of your job is people rely on you. Like they probably. If you weren't on the air, some of that joy would be out of their life. I'm sure.
Oh, that's sweet.
But it's
Absolutely.
true.
I
I listen
look
to your
at it-
show.
I look-
You're funny as hell.
Well,
I'm gonna
that's-
tell you.
I make myself laugh.
This
so
is what we
I don't know.
do.
I
This
don't know
is
if
exactly
if that
what we
means that
do.
it's funny, but the way I perceive my job, and that is I'm not like a morning show, so I'm by myself, right? So I can't riff off and whatever. But ultimately, at the end of the day, especially now, people are worn out, like they're tired.
Yeah.
So I gotta just help you know that you got this. You got to go home maybe to like a pile of laundry and a supper that the kids are not going to want to eat, right? Or a mother who's going to talk nonstop when you get home. I love you, Ann, but that's your
Yeah.
job. That's my job is to kind of help you feel like, you know what? I know, man. I know.
Yeah.
But we'll get through
Exactly.
it. We'll get
yeah,
through it.
exactly. It's
Right?
that's a good point.
Because that's really that's all I can bring to the table. Like, good
Well,
luck.
It's interesting because when we started this, and Mo, you mentioned what happened to you that day, and Dave and I were bored. I was doing a sports radio show on CIOE. It was just local sports thing, and there was no local sports going on. So hey, let's just talk to our musician buddies, and away we went. So we decided early on that we would just talk about some of our friends we grew up listening to and doing shows with. But the one thing we also decided was it wasn't going to be negative. So if you want to be
Right.
negative,
Right.
it's not the place for you. And so we've been asked a lot, did all that bad stuff
Keep it on this show, the political show.
right? Yeah, put it on the show. But did all that bad stuff allow you guys to be successful? And I don't think it did. I think, well, I shouldn't say that. It did because it gave people an outlet.
That was the whole point, yeah.
But the most negative thing that happens, and we get this a lot, does Dave really annoy you? And I always say, yes, he does. Like you would not friggin' believe. But that's the most negative thing that we get. I mean, it's like it's banter when we talk to people. We try to keep it up high.
Yeah.
We've only had to kick 2 people off out of more than 5,000 members.
Actually, you're doing really good.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
you're
they
gonna
know who
have
they
hate-
are.
You probably have haters too. I'm sure you do. We all have
Oh
haters.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what happens though? I have this strategy for dealing with people, right? And they'll say like, and it's always some passive aggressive snotty stuff on a text, right?
Yeah.
That's the station text, and I shower them with so much love. I'm like, oh, I'm so thankful. Well, really appreciate you
doesn't
pointing
sound
that
sarcastic
up.
one little bit.
And
Is
no,
that
but
why
but
I got
do-
those
no, but I
50
do it.
texts
Like,
from
I
you?
Just, I just literally, I'm like, you know what? Thank you very much. Or if I'm like saying, first place, I already knew that. So I have to kind of, I'm not going to back down and make it sound like I don't know what I'm talking about if somebody thinks they're trying to correct me. But at the same time, absolutely, like, I'm like all sunshine and happiness. And they hate that because what they want is a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
There
Absolutely.
are the internet, what they call them,
Yeah.
keyboard warriors.
Yeah,
They want to
yeah.
fight.
Yeah.
If you just put your arms down and smile, they're like, oh crap, I can't fight with that.
It's like road rage.
Right?
You're locked in a car and you can be as angry as you want. When you're behind your keyboard, no one can touch you.
That's right. Good
It's the same
point.
thing.
You can
And
be
it's-
whoever you want to
and
be.
the thing
it
is,
actually
too-
is fun knowing that you're pissing them off again.
Some people get intimidated just by the fact, like, you were touching on this earlier. There's enough people out there who just don't know how to do this. They don't know how. They might be great artists. But they might be quite introverted, or they can't deal with this. And that's why it's kind of like almost I feel bad for people who can't think their way out of this online. Like I jumped on with these guys right from the beginning, and I think one of the reasons why you guys clicked is that they can tell you we're best friends before this started. You know, you guys are lifelong best friends, and it doesn't take too long to realize that, right? Because there's only so many times if you weren't best
Good
friends,
actors.
you guys would be telling each other to go pound sand because it's just the way best friends are.
Yeah.
And people see that right
I
away,
agree.
like brothers or
Chemistry.
something. There's a
Well, you know, and
chemistry
it's
there.
funny, Mo, because you talk about this. We were at big leagues, and it was probably the first time I
Yeah.
had seen Dave in a
You were
while. And
just-
we sat down. We said, "We got this idea."
You got this idea.
And Mo's like, "I'm freaking excited. I don't even know what it is." And it's like, "I don't even know what it is." And you know, in the way it went, so it's kind of cool. Before we get into it, let's do a little business because we gotta promote the heck
Yeah.
out of some people here. So we mentioned Dress to Kill. It's sold out.
Yep.
February 13th. So get Kissed with Kiss at Monty's. Monty's is one of our huge partners. Gypsy, 19th and 20th. Side
days,
Hustle,
yep. Great.
February 27th. Parkside Pub. Give a shout out to those guys because I had a meeting with Danny Ladder 2 weeks ago. And when all this was going on, the shutdown happened, they were selling gift cards and they were donating a portion of what they were making and taking in back to the artists.
Which is cool.
And I made it a point to Lower Deck did it as well.
Yep.
And we've been out to 3 shows there,
Yep.
4 shows.
4,
and,
I think, yeah,
And
and last
you go
one.
in, it's the safest place in the world.
It
That's the way
really
you feel. They
is,
do a
yeah.
great job. We're at the Parkside Pub.
We're going to play
April
ourselves on the
24th?
24th of April. Again, the staff there is amazing. Heather and Louisa are just, you know, and Dan himself. It's just, you feel safe, you feel comfortable. And the food, oh my Lord, dying Jesus. I'm sure a lot of folks saw what I posted there the other day. What amazing brunch it was. Like, just great food, great service all the time, you know. So we're excited to be partnered with them too, yeah.
And want to get a shout out to Dave and Darlene McDonald over at the Capitol Sports Bar, which this is going to sound like a broken record. We're there March 6th.
Wow.
Maurice is rubbing off on me. But that being said,
Kearney Huckster.
yeah, that's right. We did a great interview with them, and I defy anybody to find 2 people that care more
Absolutely.
about their establishment and promoting live music than those
Mom
2.
and pop.
They're fantastic.
Yep.
So a little something that's going up. Got to get a shout out to our friends at ePrint It. They're
Yep.
offering that wicked 40% discount to folks.
Super cool.
To
My
your
bo-
point earlier, Nicole, there's a lot more work for artists to do now, musicians, and this is a great opportunity. What Greg has done with eprinted.com is that he's offering deals for the working musicians. So if you're going to put
Yeah.
your posters up, if you know, and you need to still have paper posters, he's the guy. He's
I'd
the
like
guy.
to
But
say
you know
thank
what?
you to our friends at Channel Technologies.
Yes, absolutely.
That kind of leads me into a next little point here, and that
Can we say chorus
Is-
first?
sure, yeah,
Coor-
Molson Coors,
Yeah, we're fans of them.
right? Yeah, I'm fans of them all the time.
So yeah.
But the thing is like when you're saying about like these guys putting out discounts and the band, and when you're saying we all self-promoting and all this. Funny thing is that we've always had to do that. We just didn't, and I think now it's a bit of a wake up call. And these are those few little things. Like I've established an online presence now that's going to carry me past the pandemic.
Sure.
Barstools and Band Talk isn't going to go anywhere because they won't let you go. And I just got a nice little thing. Lori Little, I liked it when you guys would go out to the live shows and go live. I like that too. In fact, when you guys went over to watch you guys play, you guys come in and you sat down at the table and you pan the room and you guys and Michelle and the Bain Band was playing and it was so cool. And I was like, man, I felt like, hey. They brought me to the gig, and that's all part of this
Sure.
promotion thing that's going on.
Yeah.
You should have been doing it before the pandemic.
Well, but I'll tell you what, you're right. But here's what
But
happened.
people wouldn't have watched. Everything's
They're right.
changed.
But to Nicole's point,
But yeah, but
we
it's
took
gotta stay now.
we took a lot of heat for that.
Yeah.
We did. We went over to the Carlton one night. We saw Petty Larceny, a Tom Petty tribute act. They were fantastic.
Great band.
And so we were sitting at our table. Our buddy Stephen Marsh was like, Anna Z wants to meet you. So we went over, we talked to Anna. We were sitting appropriate distance apart. Somebody want to take a picture? And Anna's like, masks, because I can't get ripped one more time on social media.
That's appropriate.
But,
They'll leave the
and it
mask
was,
on,
but we got ripped mercilessly by some people for going and trying to present live entertainment. And so this time we just decided we were going to do a little smarter. So Lori, you're going to see some live stuff. We're just going to do it in a level that maybe people feel a little more appropriate and whatnot. But we've been pretty good
But
at that.
you guys have been like really like you guys do it the way you do it. I do what I do, and everybody out there that actually have embraced this whole new way of promoting themselves. Like I've been watching YouTube channel for the last while. I remember when I was over in Europe and I had a couple of days had nothing going on at my friend's house, and I was just sitting there and they're off doing stuff, and I started watching these shows where people go to abandoned places. And these guys got these YouTube channels with thousands of subscribers, and like the guy has this fancy camera, a fancy flashlight, and if you like a 40% discount from this flashlight, blah 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 blah.
Right.
And like this is a couple of years ago. I said, man, these guys have got a whole business going on doing this, right?
Yeah.
And now we're starting to figure this out, and it's like, man, it's so when we're coming to promoting and all that, like people are starting to understand the importance of it. It took a pandemic.
Yeah.
It took a pandemic, but now we're doing it. My heart does go out to people who don't have the wherewithal to do this, and I'd like this community-minded thing. I say it takes a village. It really does, and because there are people out there, maybe that's not their forte, but there's probably something that they can do.
That's right.
That can promote you or help you along. There's
Maybe they're business
none of us are
owners, you know,
100%
who
perfect
knows?
at anything we do,
From an
but
out-
that's
From an outsider's perspective, because let's face it, I'm an outsider.
No, honey,
no,
you're right
I'm,
in.
no,
You're
I
in.
no,
am
you're
so-
media.
I'm
You're so not an outsider.
But no, I'm an outsider as far as understanding the music process. I wouldn't have a clue how to play an instrument or sing a song. I'm thankful I got my mug without having to perform. Thank you. But it's from an outsider's perspective onto, say, the auditory arts. It seems a little bit like historically there's a purist attitude. And there's no
Thank you.
room for a purist attitude
Not now.
anymore. Anybody who thinks that the small screen or the phone or self-promotion and being flexible with technology is looks down on it, good luck.
Yeah.
Because you will be completely irrelevant.
Very quickly.
Because that's where people are. You have to go where your people are. Stop screwing around. Also, can I also make a quick point before I forget? So I'm a middle-aged lady, 51. Well, what? And it's like a.
Thanks for giving my age away, by the way. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you hung the whole jury there.
In my best Pete Schweddy voice there when you did it.
But what I love about this page, and I said this in our last interview, and I think that you guys are really poised to do something really amazing for your industry, and that is connect your audience with what you're doing. As a middle-aged woman, it is an absolute. I was telling Michelle, you know what it's like. You try to get your girls together for a brunch. It takes 6 weeks. Like it's a thing. It's an absolute event. So then, if you know ahead of time what bands are playing and where, and if I want to go downtown, I guess I could go downtown, but I'm not likely, with all due respect, I'm not likely just randomly go, hey, let's go downtown on Saturday night. It's not going to happen. What hasn't happened in 10, 20 years that's how I'm going to roll. That's not my thing. But if I knew if you were performing at a bar, especially Monty's, right? Like a place I don't have to go downtown.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But again, unless you're promoting it and you get in front of us middle-aged ladies, let's face it, we call the shots in our relationships, right? If the lady wants to go, the guy's going to be like, all right, let's go, and whatever. So we are kind of the untapped. Everybody thinks about the 20-year-olds. Stop thinking about the freaking 20-year-olds. They're already down there, man. Like, stop wasting your energy, everybody, on the millennials. Besides the fact they don't tip, right? It's not a thing. I don't know if they tip. But the reality is that when it comes to live music and performances, there's still this demo that will do it. You just got to remind us
That's right.
to get in touch with our, right? Like, I want to remember what it was like to be young and carefree.
Well, I will tell you.
Randomly.
Can you say the word again? Get your what? I love that.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Well,
Is that my thing?
I will say.
I'm gonna write
It
a song.
sounded rather feline.
We've
gotta
done some
collect-
research. You mentioned those middle-aged ladies, and Dave actually charts very well in the 55 to 82 range. So that's why I think we're having a lot of success on this show.
I'm pretty sure there's a host you can
Yeah.
go haunt somewhere.
I'm gonna put this out here. It's funny you talk about age and all that.
Before you go there, I want to say one
Oh,
thing.
yeah, go ahead.
You said earlier, and you're right. It's a brand that you were creating. This is kind of what we've done here too, or we're trying to do. Is
Yeah.
create this brand. With this brand, it's going to grow. And to your point, for the ladies who want to get there, like maybe you'll see that on our site. There'll be a very
Yeah.
cohesive way to find what's happening. And to be honest, we're going to only promote things that we're excited
Let's
about.
be honest. Like women in their 40s and 50s, when they go to a bar,
I'm
they
excited
go
about
to a
that.
bar. You're going to dress up. You got a designated driver.
That's right.
And I'm not screwing around going to this bar and that bar. I'm there to rock
Yeah.
the speaker. And I
And
might
you know
stand
where-
on the speaker. It might be a thing. It might be inappropriate at times, but that's okay. Because
Did we mention February 27th at Monty's Side Hustle?
There you go.
I want to put something out here that's interesting. Jester J. Brown. It's not only the challenge of where to get started to perform online. It's the additional technology expenses to musicians at a time where income is incredibly challenging for all. And I know a lot of people are going to go, and it shows, but we started this stupid little thing with iPhones, right? So I get
Just
that,
laptop
but
and
and I'm not going to say, don't make excuses, but you can do it. And Maurice was the first guy that said you got to go pro. We dug in.
No, we didn't. Well, you don't go pro when you first dive in. It's a choice you make. I mean, I'm going to say I know Jester. He's a great musician. Actually, he recorded on my Christmas song. And thank you very much. And,
by the way, Jester,
he's
that's
going to
not
be
an
on my
insult.
show.
That's
No,
not an
it's
insult.
not. But that's a great point he brought up, and I'm going to clear that up. And he's going to be on my live stream in a couple of weeks with Jesse Patrick. I can't wait. But the thing is like the perfect example. I keep coming back to this, but I think of Jeff Bonang. The guy has a huge following, and he still has it's a clip, it's not even a phone clip. It looks like a clip for holding something you'd have in your workshop. And he just sticks that on a stand in front of him. And he must have good eyesight, because I wouldn't be able to read my phone from far, but he can tell who's on there. And he literally just puts that in front of him. And he's been doing it the same way since he started. And he's got an immensely popular following. I mean, he's talented. But so the point is right, and you said that earlier about this. It's like, it's not about technology. It's about engagement. And if you can engage your audience, you can engage your audience with your telephone. I don't care. I'll still sit and watch you, unless it's really annoyingly horrible
I've been
sound.
engaged a lot of times.
But I'm not saying you
windy and stuff. Well, then
But you're
if
driven.
You're in your home.
And you're driven by it. Of course, if you do a couple and then you get into it, next thing you know, you want to buy a better microphone. And that's just some of us want to do that.
You can get a microphone from Amazon, man. Like something that plugs into your phone. Like it's not rocket science.
All
it's
you
not
need,
$50.
You need one of these, and you need a Wi-Fi or a data plan.
Straight up, the
And
hardest
you
part,
can
guys.
reach
The
your
hardest part,
audience.
and I'm sure it's no different.
And you do it, man. I'm just saying, Jester's talent. You get the talent, brother. You just do that. Just go do that.
Be a little bit different for you, Nicolle. But I mean, for Maurice, what you're doing and what Sean and I do, we don't get paid. You know what I mean? That's the tricky part. There's no income that
That's
comes
right.
in.
So
from this
do it
whole
cheaply
thing.
if you can't
So-
get paid.
Yeah.
Then do it for nothing.
Oh yes,
But don't cost you anything to do.
But again, your phone is so much more advanced.
Way better.
Like it is. All you have to make sure is that you have the acoustics in your home. You have
Have a bit of talent.
Pick a little closet, throw a little lamp on. For God's sakes, don't have it overhead.
Yeah.
Please, can we talk about lighting?
That's all over YouTube. There's all kinds of how-to
sweet
videos.
mercy. Have you ever been on an online dating thing? Every man takes a picture of what is happening? Just every time you see a
Most
horrible
flattering
online dating
light.
photo, just go do the opposite of whatever's happening in that
Yeah, but
picture.
but what
and
about
yours-
that?
Your picture will look good.
Yeah, but doesn't Snapchat have those little filters now? You can be talking to somebody and you look like you're 18 years old, and it's like, you know.
Okay, so if we get Nicolle to come out of her shell at some point in time during the show, this is going to be gold.
Yeah, she should loosen up a little bit.
yeah, right?
Back to another little bit more business here. Number 6 on our list, Dean Boharnish. So I don't know if
There you
everybody
go.
can see these. Yeah. So Nicolle mentioned something about people that have gotten to know us, and
Dave and
it's
Sean are in the house.
it's a little embarrassing sometimes. I was at Sobeys. I told this story, and didn't bring bags. So the lady's like, "Do you want bags?" So I get the paper bags.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just throwing stuff in, and she goes, "Hold on a second there, bud." And she starts stocking it nicely, and she brings out her camera and says, "By the way, I love the show," and she took a picture.
Nice.
True story. So it's like, okay, so I get it. We're at the Parkside the other night. Dean Boharnish shows up with these 2 T-shirts and a bunch of other things. We've had other Billy from Ruckus made us shirts.
Yep.
Jason McCourt. Wait, so my point is,
Phil Wells.
yeah, all those guys, right? So the interesting thing is I like to say we'll promote anybody that's really supporting us. So if I want to throw that out there, that you got something that's on the go, you as well. Anything you want to promote, let us know and we'll do it. And I think we do it pretty darn well.
Yep, we do.
I had a post there a couple weeks ago, last week. I was a little cranky about somebody getting on and getting promoted when they kind of didn't help us. And that's fine. And a lot of people understood where I was coming from. But that being said, if you're going to help us, we're going to help you. So Dean Boharnish,
Yeah.
awesome, right?
He's a diehard. He's a fan.
Yes.
Like he's a fan. He goes out and he actually goes. Everybody. If everybody that went out to bars and followed entertainment was a Dean Boharnish, He'll be rocking it. He's a what do you call the super fan? I guess is that what you call him? He's
He
a
is.
super fan. He's
Absolutely.
a super fan.
He's true. He's authentic.
Yeah.
To your point, I mean, during your live streams, he's the guy that's paying the virtual tip jar. You know, what I mean,
Yeah,
they're not gonna be the buskers that watch for 10 minutes and try to sidestep
Right.
Bob out. You know what I mean? They don't have to pay, right? Dine and dash, right? We call
Right.
that, right? But these guys are paying folks like Maurice who are doing these live streams.
I use a
who's-
tip jar live, and he does the tip jar.
Yep.
He's one of those guys. If he sees a tip jar, you're going to throw some change in it.
Well,
I mean, like
and
he's a real guy. He's
this
the real
just in,
deal.
boys.
Dean
Just
Bull, you're the
in.
guy, man. You're the real deal, man.
Jester, sounds great, guys. Thanks
Yeah.
for what you're doing. All of you got to run for rehearsal. Love it.
Right on. See you in a couple weeks, brother. Can't wait.
Deanbo, just doing my part to spread the word on the street, and we appreciate it. And I will tell you, in that bag of tricks that he had on Saturday night was a signed Honeymoon Suite album, second album, Field Again, all that stuff on it.
Yep.
And I looked at it, and I actually had the opportunity to open for them at the Misty Moon on that tour, and I was like, wow, it was so cool. And that was just something he just forked over and handed, and so
we use
cool.
this as a giveaway. We'll do something like that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool.
You guys have lined up an astonishing
Say-
amount
oh,
of
yes.
interviews. Like kudos to you guys.
Yeah,
who you
really
get
cool.
and the volume that you've done in such a I'm amazed. I'm absolutely
ain't seen
amazed
nothing
at
yet,
how
kid.
many.
So can I
Wild.
tell a little story? Because it actually kind of happened right in this very house. Dave and I he was moving, and I think there was a sofa. We were trying to feng shui through that door there and just failing miserably. One of our folks, Tommy Maillet, said, get Todd Zuckerman on from Styx, who is the drummer in Styx, who's incredible. So anyway, Bruce Nelson, I got him. What do you mean you got him?
And
I
the
got
sofa
him.
wasn't even in the door yet.
No, the sofa was out there, right? So I called Bruce. I'm like, what do you mean? Just talk to Zuckerman. Happy to do it. Here's his email address. So I emailed him the next day. We set it up. And it was one of the most epic interviews because we were able to remember we did the
Yeah.
Fool on Tommy where Tommy thought it was one of our buddies. He was going to help us. And then on comes Zuckerman. And I can't show the picture, but it was pretty impressive. So thanks for that because, and people in our own backyard, very cool. But Darby Mills was one of the first ones. I mean, remember we were sitting there and she's like, I did an interview last week with a couple guys that do their show to their mother's basement. And we're sitting there. Dave's in his mother's basement and I'm in my office in the basement. And, we're trying to figure out, I can't get landscape or portrait on my iPhone, right? I'm like, all right, Darby, let's go. Turned out to be a 3-hour conversation.
He's a special human being.
But that was one of the ones that put us on the map, right?
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and you know what? How it is, like when this whole thing started, we've talked about this before, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm not one like I don't look in the past. I'm not about reminiscing and or doing reunions and anything like that. I'm always thinking of the future and how things can be, and I'm always planning ahead. But when you guys started this and like that first day, or going around to all the old spots where bars used to be, and you started to reminisce, it was just something that it needed to be done. It needed to be done. People needed to think about the happy times and back when we were
Yeah.
young. Now you were talking about earlier about us being like the aging population, about going out. The thing is that this whole pandemic is changing the whole way we do things, to the point where I know a lot of people my age that don't go to bars because they don't want to get hit on. The women don't want to get hit on by 20-year-old drunk guys, and blah 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 blah. People all of a sudden have to be polite.
Right.
Because of distancing and all this kind of stuff. So now you're going to see people going, that was quite a night. Monty's knows how to rock it. They put in a crowd. There's, you sit there, the drinks are brought to you. Everybody's polite. No one's spitting in your face. And it's just like, wow, this is kind of nice. You're going to see people and young people, maybe they learn some manners. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old guy here, but it's made it so that no matter how old you are, it's to some
respecting
degree, it's a
personal space.
respectable of your space. So you're probably going to see this. These are the little positive things that are going to happen in the live entertainment and in restaurants or anything going out. So, because the people that are like this show, for example, I mean, none of us are in our 20s, but there's a lot of people that are young that still are interested in what we're promoting
What are
here.
you talking about?
And we're not talking about just about a bunch of hair bands in the 80s and memories about all that. Like, you've had some pretty cool interviews with people that are still quite relevant now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In all different genres and
Yeah.
all different artists.
And there's a huge, the generation gap is almost zilch now anyway. I mean, I play in a band with like Lee Fleming Smith. Like, he's an old soul. The guy's 28 years
Yeah.
old, but there's just no generation gap anymore.
No.
So, but even as an audience, as a person, like, we get the girls together to go out, and like, you know who's playing there. You know what you're doing. You got your tables reserved. You're going to have a good time. And I think that's, you're going to see, those are the the good things that are going to come of this. These are those some little, you have to take, you got to find some good in this.
You know what, Domo? I think, and I want to get a shout out. Deanbo got these at say it was Stitches in Bedford. So visit those guys. That's awesome. I think what's going on the generation gap mode that's different than when we were all sort of starting to come up is we had to kind of earn our stripes, and now I think if you can play, you're instantly respected, whether you're 27 or 57 or whatever.
It doesn't matter
people,
who old you. Look at the biggest stars in the world. You know, they're up there, but they got sidemen that are the age of their children, and they look right.
Right.
Wolfgang Van Halen.
Right.
Look great playing in Van Halen. You know.
Absolutely.
Just saying that.
New music is being launched on TikTok. New artists are being found on TikTok. 60 seconds. They don't even have to have a whole friggin' song. The game has changed.
Man, so you just got to jump in. Yeah.
Which means that somebody who is not 19 can also have success.
How old was the guy on the skateboard with the ocean spray and you know?
He got Mick Fleetwood to reply.
Yeah, ocean spray bought him a car.
Come on, who didn't love that moment?
Well, I'll tell you from a bit of a personal thing. I mean, my 22-year-old son is a rap artist and he produces hip hop, and every time they release something, they get hundreds of thousands of people watching. And so, you know, you're right. That's kind of you know, the Nike symbol. Just do it. I mean, you just got to do it and jump in with both feet. And
you can't say that there's no venue for you because it's right there on your internet connection.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Either you do it or you don't.
It's funny when you talk about hip hop because we had
Darren Piper.
Yep, Ghetto Socks on our show early on, and it was. I felt kind of bad because not a whole lot of our folks, because again we know who our demographic is, didn't really pay much attention to it. That's kind of why we started the Instagram account too, so you can find us on Instagram too.
I didn't know you guys were on Instagram.
See, man,
I just found that out right now. That's kind of cool.
Right on.
But but what I love about what Darren was saying, and I've seen it with Zach too, that village, if you talk about this a lot, Maurice, and I love that term, they collaborate a lot, you know, and they support each other, and they do gigs together, and they'll go on each other's songs all the time. We're seeing that now in our little group, in our little.
Not like it was when we started.
No,
that's right.
No, like in our venues that we see now, you talk about Leith. You see Leith and Kyle. You see Leith and Kyle and Jordan over
we
here.
all play multiple bands.
Michael Lloyd's over here. Michael Lloyd there's with Maurice, and they're all over the place. And I think that's really cool to see that many collaborations.
I think it's important.
Musicians, you know what I mean? That's different, and it's kind of cool to see.
Well, so two things. One, I did not. Well, I kind of knew about Instagram, and incidentally, I think it's 250 pictures of Dave eating eggs at the Parkside. But did you see how I got that plug in for the Parkside pub? So, Instagram, Barstools, and Band Talk. Well, we talked about this before. Some of our contemporaries don't agree with this kind of new thing that we've been forced to do. In that, your full band doesn't get to be your full band. So sometimes you get something that's booked on the fly. And you got to grab a couple. I talked about this in the first
Somebody
episode.
has to stay home.
Yeah, I was sitting around scratching my head there, not playing a whole heck of a lot, and I get a call from Maurice Aucoin, and I'm back in the game. That's kind of the way things are done now. Talk about that a little bit, Mo, because you get a lot of different guys out and play. You've had a lot of guys up there, and it just always comes together.
I'm glad, really. I remember back in the day when I first started many years ago. There was a little more competition. Everybody wanted to get, no one wanted to give up their trade secrets. Everybody wanted to, and ironically, there was lots of work. It wasn't like a shortage of gigs. You just didn't want anybody, you just felt like.
You saw and listened to,
and it was a little, it was quite competitive. But I was never like that. And I think maybe some people, I don't know if they were intimidated by it, but I'd invite people up on stage and I was hoping that they'd be better than me because then I go, look, that guy's awesome. And look, man, he actually played on my stage. You know what I mean? Like I was flattered by that, where some people wouldn't even want to invite him up because he's scared to be showing up.
Right.
And I never thought that way. But now it's like, finally people are figuring it out. Like, I mean, the Social Broken Scene, it's a band, but it's a band of bands, right? And that thing was a neat little community project that they did, and I'm not even that familiar with them, but I understand the philosophy of it, and that's exactly what we're doing now. I mean, when I do the duo gigs, I mean, I feel bad that Persuaders have only played about 3 or 4 gigs this year, but I made sure that I got as many people I could collectively get under my wing to play whenever I did get a gig. Like I literally would go down the list and I'd say, Leith, because I'd play with Leith every week. He's one of the best keyboard players in the country. But he just played a weekend with so-and-so, and I know that Teddy Z hasn't played since 2 weeks ago. Well, then come on, you come play with me, right? It's your responsibility. If you're getting like when you have enough gigs that you can live on, or not live on, but you know what I mean? Like you're getting your share.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is really cool, man.
The best thing you can do is split your share up with people that aren't getting their share and keep everybody in the village with you, right?
And when you're confident in what you're doing,
I've always been confident,
Right,
but
but
I've
when
never
you're-
been intimidated, and I've never been arrogant enough to think that, I'm better than anybody else. I keep that to myself.
That's right.
no, but I guess my point is that I think that it's really important when you are secure in your artistry to help elevate others, regardless of whatever it is.
right.
In this
It's
case,
important.
music.
We
but
all
it's
get-
really important to elevate
takes a
others
village.
because then magic happens.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
in collaboration.
Nicole, I'm so
it's-
glad you're here. You're
it's
so
amazing.
classy.
Well,
Yeah, that's it.
two things that I want.
Classy.
Two things that I want to elaborate on that point. Karen Mullen, Maurice promotes everyone, true gentleman. So there you go.
Thank you, Karen.
There you go.
To that point, Dave and I talk about this a lot. So if I'm out at a bar and I'm watching somebody play and I'm not on the stage, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to drink my beer, I'm going to clap. I'm not going to, unless it's somebody that's pissed me off in some way, but for the most part, I'm going to be polite and respectful in some way. Conversely, if I'm on the stage, don't come up and point something out that you think I could have done better, because I will have
Oh
that
my
respect
God.
for you.
Do people do that?
It's happened. We won't name names, but it's happened.
That's because they're jealous.
Well,
That's
maybe.
what that is. That's jealous.
But one
and
thing
control,
about this
ego.
platform that I find is kind of forced us to kind of be, and I won't say I get it right all the time, because people that know me know I'm kind of fluffing it here, but we're sort of forced to be nicer to some people that maybe we wouldn't necessarily always be nicer to. Is that a fair tap
I think
dancing
it's a
around the things?
responsibility. I think it's more of a responsibility than ever before, only because that, like, we're all, when they say we're in this together, that's part of the responsibility of that.
Yeah.
When we're all in this together, it's not going to, we were just talking about this earlier, not to get political, but that's why we started this show. It's a place you can get political. And we were talking about the president of the United States there, like demanding everybody be happy and demanding everybody, you can't make people do
Right.
good things. You have to, they have to be willing to do it.
You have to be an
and if you're
example,
going to
right?
be, and if we're in this together, you really got to be in it together. You got to lift somebody up when they're having a bad day. And there's a lot of people having bad days through this. I've had my share. And and so, like, when you're saying, like, maybe you're not, they don't deserve such great care and tender and kid gloves. It's your responsibility right now a little bit to kind of do your share, to do that too,
It's
Well,
not
no,
as
now,
like-
Like wearing a
now I
mask
feel
at the
like I'm
drive-thru.
getting dressed down by Maurice Aucoin, and I needed it.
No, but seriously, I
it's
think
not-
that's,
I know what
you
you're
brought
saying,
that's
bro.
a great point. That's a great point.
I know what you're saying.
Like, nobody is above this.
No,
you're right.
That's right.
Nobody's
Everybody's
above
impacted.
this. It's your that's why I put a mask on now when I go through the drive-thru, because I noticed it made her happier. Well, you know what? That's a nice thing to do. Well, I think I'll do that next time.
But we live in a glass house now. To your point, I mean,
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To your point, I
absolutely.
saw you drive up, and the Jack FM 92. Your vehicle is deckled, so you have like another social responsibility too. If you're speeding or you're running over little old ladies, I mean, people are gonna. Hey,
That's right. Everybody's
they're gonna
accountable.
call you out.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Our buddy Bill Hollywell. Rising
don't you-
tides lift all boats.
Don't you think that
There you
when,
go, Bill.
when
Good
you-
line. I'm going to put that in a song.
when you're less when you're less resistant to people and you just sort of let things ride a little bit, that's easier on you too.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
like when you're
Yeah.
talking
No,
like
that's a fair
right?
Well,
statement.
someone will lift me up.
Because you're first of all taking the high road can sometimes be good, even if it's not what you want to do.
I mean, there's limitations,
Right?
but
it
you
I
know.
do
kind
it
of
every now and again,
just
Nicole.
sorta-
It does
just
happen.
sort of eases that stress level, and you never know. I always think there's payback. Like you get good stuff coming your way
called
when
mojo.
when you don't kind of get wrapped up in the negativity.
But here's the thing about being creative, and everybody at this table is creative. And my good friend Kyle Boudreau said something to me the other day, and I was just like, and it just, he calls it the pendulum, where you're creative and you're happy, then a split second later it swings over and you're pissed off. And then a split second later, and that's the creative mind. It's constantly going like this, and you got to find somewhere in the middle that kind of keeps it between the two,
right.
but more on this side. And I thought, if you know Kyle, funny guy, but I mean, for him, that was a pretty interesting statement, because I was like, that describes like 10 people I know right now, myself included, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Lori Little, karma. That's the word we're looking for. Yeah.
karma.
Oh, by the way, Jason McCorson's watching. If you guys like the graphics on this, it's a nice, lovely job. You can
Yes.
thank Jason for this. The lovely new Barstools and Band Talk Barstools Bullpen moniker here. This is
And
really kind of
this
cool.
just in on Barstools early today. So Jason used to play in a band years ago called Short Notice from the Chester area, and they're going to get together for something, I think, in August. details to come. But
He's got that McCarty thing too. Like
he's got McCarty.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
really
make
cool.
like a video a week. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Jason's a super talented dude who every time we knock
Subscribe
on
to
the
his
door, he always-
YouTube channel. You get your money's worth. They get lots of great videos.
Well, that's a good point.
What's
Everybody
what's
should be promoting everybody's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Jason McCorson, they're called McCarty.
Yeah.
McCarty's. That's what people. I'm asking for the people at home that might want to find them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh,
How would I find these people?
We're not that quite well researched.
McCarty.
That's episode 3.
If you if you subscribe to our YouTube channel,
You'll see it. You'll
then
find it.
Everything
Oh,
else
okay.
will be right in the world.
We'll get you there. Well, you know what? We'll post that on
Yeah,
Barstools.
sure. Absolutely.
Because they get some cool stuff going on.
Actually, we'll share a couple of your videos on. Yeah, that'd be great. They're pretty neat.
Yeah, we like these folks.
Oh, and thanks, boys. See, that's just how easy it is. Because, I mean, and again, Jason, I've got a tattoo that Jason did like 10 years ago. That
Great tattoo artist.
He is. He's not really doing it much
Well,
anymore.
no,
but-
nobody is. I don't think
Yeah,
anymore.
but, if you want a tattoo, maybe hit him up for that, too. Is there anything on that board that we haven't hit yet?
The board itself.
The board itself, we should, well, so
It's been
hey,
a good hour. I mean, like this has been a fun. It's been great, man. Well, you can't expect her not to have any words to say. I mean, she is a radio personality, but you did a lovely job.
She's
tonight.
a brand.
Yeah.
We're a big fan of that brand, to be honest.
Well, and so here, Nicolle. Before we went on, when we did the interview, we said, "Is there anything we shouldn't ask you? Anything we can?" And you said, and I'd love for you to say this again if you remember. You said your best interview and your worst interview, and when you described it, it was hilarious. And you said, "Yeah, I'll name names."
Stephen Page. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh,
only
that was
imagine.
like, I'd rather have a root canal.
You don't want to come on the show?
I don't ever want to have to interview that man again.
It's okay
I'm
if
going
you don't
on
wanna come on
record.
the
Please
show.
don't make me brutal. Maybe I caught him on a bad day, but he could not have been less interested in my time. Most notable probably would be. Well, I mean, I said I loved Corey Hart's like
Yep.
so nice.
Yep.
Oh, so nice. He was so sweet. Like you can't even how sweet.
Did he
was.
say thank you when he did the interview? That's bad.
He's just
That's
so
horrible.
nice. Like it's just it's so crazy. Everybody should meet him because he's that nice. It's ridiculous. But yeah. What's his name there? Tommy Lee. Yeah, he was quite a character. It was
Tommy Lee.
It was a phoner,
Did-
and it was.
It was
something
a
else.
sorry. It was a
phone in.
Oh, okay.
Phone in.
Did you read his book, by the way?
No.
I'll get you his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first chapter is it should have been written in crayon. We'll just leave it at that. But anyway, and Tommy Lee's a hero of mine. I grew up absolutely. It's anybody comes and sees me play, they can pick any drum lick out, and I can tell you what Motley Crue album it's off of. So,
I guess the reason why it stood out is because he was so professional, warm, nice. I'm a chick. At the time I was at C100, we're doing a phone interview. I'm in Nova Scotia. I'm sure he doesn't even know where Nova Scotia is. And
Or he doesn't remember
or
where it
he doesn't
was.
remember, right? Exactly. And he treated me like I was and my time was important, right? So when
That's class
because-
to do that.
right? Like I'm not asking for. Will never be provocative. I said that. I'm not going to try and be edgy. That's not my style, right? I don't think you get the best of people when you're trying to.
No,
stir
you
the
have a standard.
hornet's
No,
nest,
people expect that
right?
from you.
You want to have trust, and you want.
Yep.
I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, including the listener, because it's about the listener.
That's
It's
right.
not actually about the artist.
You get it.
But he was just so great, so nice.
well, and we've had a lot of people that have asked for Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx. So hey, we'll throw that out there.
You'll
There
get
you
them.
go.
You'll get them.
Yeah, well, there's one that I'd love to
If you get them, tell them to come on my show.
Absolutely. Well, we'll all do it together.
We'll work on that together.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
takes a village, doesn't it?
Right? That's how we'll do it. I'll ask you, Dave. So we've done 150 interviews.
Yep.
Oh my God, is it that many?
150?
100
Shut up.
About
Hey,
150.
folks, there you go. 150 interviews. There must be some sort of a
All of
benchmark
you,
for that.
yeah,
That's-
subscribe to
Not
YouTube.
150 good interviews. I'm just saying
doesn't matter.
we're
Hey,
working
well,
on numbers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Quantity, not quality.
So give me one that stands out for you that you were super. I guess when it was done, you were like, yeah, that was a lot of fun, and one that maybe, and you don't have to name the name of the one that you didn't like, but one that you were kind of like, because we're not all made like Nicolle Bellefontaine, where we'll just throw it out there.
Every single interview we've done, I've learned something new, and I'm like shocked, and I was like just shocked and amazed by the people and the talent and the humility. Gosh, so many. I think Todd Kerr was probably on that blew me away. How cool he was.
Yeah.
Todd Kearns. even talking to Russell Brandon, like that was to me was like he was.
That
I
was-
had
yeah.
no idea how
Yeah.
just how
Relatable.
not so much relatable, but he's such
Smart,
such
down
a
to earth.
pioneer. Like he really innovated a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you
in
know,
our
what?
industry,
people like
you know.
that aren't even particularly. It's not even about. It's not even when you talk about reminiscing and all that. Like he was an innovator. He innovated.
Yeah.
And is so talented that he's relevant. Well, no matter what he talks about, whether it happened 30 years ago or it's going to happen next week.
Liberty DeVito was another one.
Yeah.
Just blew my
Well,
mind.
and that one there was, if you saw Hired Gun, I mean, he was
Yeah.
the guy in that. And I remember saying, if I could spend 5 seconds with that man, I'd quit,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's been your dream
Coolest
gig, really.
dude, like, and he talks like this, and
Yeah, just a big
73
accent.
years old, and he's got a 3-year-old daughter, and he's just, he had some of the worst stuff in life happy to him, and he's just not bitter. And I want to tell you guys a real funny story today, and it starts off not so funny, but it was a good story. Mary Wilson passed
Yes.
away today.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Sad to hear.
So Hollywoods was the first one that posted it. So I was kind of, I wanted, because we love Holly, she's awesome. So I meant to push the care button, and I actually pushed the happy face. And I didn't realize that I did it.
Down the bottom.
That's
So
brutal.
no, yeah.
We've all done that, folks.
No,
We've all done that.
It's a true story. This is a true story. She goes, Sean, you weren't laughing, and she goes, I know that's not like you. And she sent me this long. And I was just like, oh, my God. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She goes, I knew that wasn't like you. I knew it was a mistake, and I want to correct it. And I'm going, a Canadian rock legend gave a crap enough about me and my thing that she said, hey. And that's something that's pretty cool,
That's cool.
I think.
The friends we made, like there's our, I wouldn't say peers. I mean, because I think the stuff that they have done is incredible, but they're true friends.
They are now, yeah.
They are
Yeah.
now. Like
Yeah.
Darby has that.
Like
the
you didn't
coloring
know
book
you
that she's
didn't know
doing
her
right.
at all when the start.
Oh,
like,
my
you
God,
guys
dude.
just she randomly reached out. Did she? That's
Well,
cool.
no, we contact people all the time. I actually was talking to Corey Hart's manager the other day. Like we're on it all the time.
No,
Like,
but I'm saying, but when it started, like what I'm saying, when this began, like look at from last April till now, like most of these people were like, you never thought you'd be talking to Liberty DeVito,
No.
but these people are like, they're on this. Like Ken Tobias was watching earlier,
Yeah,
another
he's
here,
a
musical
great- another
icon,
great
you
guy.
know.
what, Mo, to be perfectly
And
honest,
we
it was talking to you, talking to Jackie, talking to Bruce Wheaton, talking to Dave Roberts. That was just as exciting for us.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'm
it's true.
flattered.
Well, it's
Yeah.
true, man.
I just needed. I think it needed to happen.
You should all watch the Michelle
Yeah,
Ryder
and
interview.
you're not
That's
the,
an interesting one.
you're not the only guys doing this. Like this isn't like peculiar to our little area here. I mean, there's shows like this happening all over the world. The reason why there's other ones happening in Canada. I've watched a couple of them. They're the same. This is a phenomenal. It's I can't even come up with the right words.
I'll
but
say this once, and I'll sound anyhow. It doesn't happen very often. It only works because it's he and I. And it's the friendship, the bond
Yeah.
we have. And I
Sure.
freaking love him. I love him like a brother, and it wouldn't have worked with any
But
of
this
the
is like
people.
this is on a human level. Like when you do interviews, I mean, you're talking to somebody, you're asking questions. It's unscripted. It's not like TV. It's not
You
glitzy.
said
It's
it.
not CTV.
You said it.
You
You said to us. You said if you're authentic and
Yeah.
you're believable, then people are going to
People
tune in.
pick up on fake now.
Yeah.
Right? Well, some people. Some people still watch some programs and they think it's real. God love them. Reality TV isn't real, by the way.
And
It's not scripted, but it is entirely
and we really are
coerced.
talking to you. We really are.
But if you are authentic and you are present,
Hi,
and
Willie.
you leave your
Willie Dobson's
ego at the
watching.
door, people love that stuff. That's what they crave. More
Yes.
than ever.
Yeah, it's a good point. And the first bit we were getting, are you really that cranky, Sean? Is Dave really that annoying? And it's like, hey, go and hang out with us at a bar. That's what happens. Dave's always trying to get free stuff, and I'm always annoyed because he's trying to get free stuff. Or I'm always,
Pretty true.
yeah, pretty much. I
Just
mean,
wait.
yeah.
Should I be? No, it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Or I spend 2 hours practicing and Dave doesn't practice, and we argue about that. But my point is, I'm on a roll here tonight, brothers. This is great.
You keep going.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yep. But my point is we don't script it because I think that would kind of make it
Fake.
cheesy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
No,
Cheesy.
it's-
Loose agenda.
It's funny because we used to. I think the first interview we did with Bruce Wheaton, I think I had a list of notes or something like that. And Sean's like, "I'm not going to write anything now." I said, "Well, I don't care what you do. I'm going to do this because I'm going to ask some really good questions." And I didn't look at them because we just get too involved in
Yeah.
the conversation.
Yeah.
So now we just we kind of wing it, you know.
Yeah, I remember when we did our interview, it was like, I didn't know what was going to talk about. This is back in the beginning. I think the only person that did an interview before me was Jackie Smith.
It was you and Jackie were Jackie and you were the first two.
And we only had so many minutes because it was a free Zoom account.
we were light on sponsors.
But you know,
But the point was that we never lost a
50 channel
second of it
technology.
with dead air. We never lost. We had lots. We just had no problem coming up with something.
did you ever
to talk
wonder why
about.
everything lasts about an hour? Because that's how long I can go without peeing.
All right,
That's how- I guess that's
see?
our-
and the lack
Oh,
of
and we've got
class.
a minute, hour and 15 minutes
But
tonight.
you know what? It was a learning curve because you mentioned Michelle's video, and it was so funny because before we are here, Dave was doing the interview or at his mother's in the basement. So he gets this idea. We get was it the free Zoom still at that point?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Dave goes and he researches how you get green screen. So he
Yeah.
goes to the dollar store and he gets all this green. What is it?
Cardboard, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So meanwhile, a friend of mine says, I need you to do a favor and go and do a security job for me over at the Goresbrook. So Dave's like, we got the interview, and I'm going, oh. So the interview is Dave's head disappearing.
You can't wear blue when you're doing a green screen.
Right.
Didn't know that.
and me walking around outside in the rain trying to get a Wi-Fi connection off the school and some guy yelling at me.
Yeah, it looks like a
Right.
pedophile. So yeah, it was bad. It was
So
bad.
is that still on YouTube?
Oh,
Oh,
It
yeah,
wasn't-
good. Yeah,
Oh.
check it.
Because you know what,
That's
we
a
edit-
classic
Is
moment.
that your interview?
Yeah,
We don't-
I'll
yeah.
be watching that.
We don't
Yeah.
edit anything.
Blooper reel.
No, hey, listen, 37 minutes of absolute magic.
Yeah.
There you
Right?
go. Fantastic.
Yes.
Folks, this was a lot of fun tonight, I guess,
Yeah.
for number 2 episode.
So we kind of had an agenda that we were going to be more ballsy, kind of political. It doesn't have to be that way, guys. But it's like we're excited about having different guests in here.
And if anybody out there thinks that this should continue, I think it should. But I mean, we didn't get we got a few good
We
questions
did.
tonight.
But you know what? Just
that is
because we
cool.
have the lovely Nicolle Bellefontaine here,
yes.
let's just talk a little bit about women in media because you and I kind of,
Yeah.
before we started
Dial this
our
back
interview.
in.
And I think it's important.
Yep.
And, how we're getting more, but the landscape still is a little bumpy. So, for you as somebody that's, what do you say? You're in the business how long now?
31 years.
31 years this year.
And so when you were talking to us off camera, you were talking about how you started and the things you had to do and the stops and the starts and whatever, but you've stayed in this market. Has it changed for the better? Or do you see it getting better? What needs to take place?
Well, I mean, there are still very few female-led morning shows, right? It's always going to be a male, or it's a duo, but typically you have your male and then whoever else is with them. So we have a lot of ground to make with regard to that still, in my opinion. But I think that one of the things that bothers me probably the most right now, everybody pull in close, is the fact that it's always men that are doing voiceovers for television. Women are getting commercials, but when you look at programming, television programming, women are still, we're non-existent. We're not, like, that's a whole thing right now that I'm putting it out there to the universe in every way possible. And that is, I would like to hear more female voices in places of authority. And by the way, can it not be an English voice? Can we actually have just a North American
Hello, what
female
about
voice
Siri?
doing, say, I don't know, Curse of Oak Island? I know you guys love your Robert Clotworthy, but
haven't missed an
it's
episode.
time. I know, me too, right? But it's time that you don't think about it.
no.
But if now when you're watching television, you will realize every documentary either has a famous person like Susan Sarandon, or you have an English woman, or just men. It's just men. So the media, television, women have a long way to go still, in my opinion.
I never thought of that,
We got a
actually.
fierce warrior, a female over there, amazing, Michelle. So she knows what I'm talking about. It is, people don't think of radio and television as being still a male game, and it's changing. But
Do you think it's a
watch
sexist thing, or
television.
do you think it's I just kind of thought about that, chiming in, getting on the technical side. Do you think it's more of is it a sexist thing, or do you think it's an actual physical in science? Okay, what I'm getting at is that
where are we going with this now?
I
No,
love this
no.
because I have a response.
no,
Yes.
but what I'm going to go with this is that the sound of a male voice, right? Now, when you have a soothing woman voice, it's a Google Home thing, or it's Lois on the GPS or something like that. That's gently guiding you in, or this gracious lady with an automated voice that's making you stay on the phone a little bit longer. But when it comes to something that's like, like you think that like the Morgan Freeman voice and all the authoritative men voices, when they design audio equipment, and depending on like, for example, if you, this is a little technical, but in Yamaha, the company Yamaha is based in Japan. And when they set their audio equipment, their EQ settings and all that kind of stuff. Now, this is going over the head of the average Joe, but just from a little bit of education here is that they set their EQ settings to the sound of a voice that they're familiar with to their cranium. Yeah. And a Japanese voice has a different timbre than a North American voice. Okay. That's why when you hear a Grundig radio or you hear like German style audio, it has its own quality. Because a German voice has a different kind of thing, and your brain is tuned to that, right?
Right.
And they'll actually tune sound equipment to say wherever the company's from, that's what they're generally hearing. So when you're hearing a voice that you can't see, it's a voiceover. It's a voice that you're hearing the voice on the screen. You're not seeing the person talk. Do you think there has something to do with the actual the science of a command of a sound of a voice that's supposed to hit you a certain way? Like has there been any research done to that?
Two points to that. First of all, when I was in college learning my craft in King's Tech in the Valley, the teacher at the time said to us, it was 50% female, and he said women as well as men prefer to listen to a male voice. So that immediately says to you as a female who's in college that you are going to be fighting an uphill battle as a female voice because all women don't like you. And I think that that's a bunch of horseshit. I don't think that's accurate at all. I think what women don't respond to is ditzy and is something that makes other women look stupid, i.e. Desperate Housewives. All those shows need to go. But anything at all that, any voice. Listen, I've heard male voices that were horrible, cut through my brainstem. Yeah. So it's not because you have genitals that are on the outside that make your voice more pleasant at all on any frigging level. Yeah. No, but again, you're talking about the equipment. Well, of course the equipment can be EQ'd in any way. Yeah. There's compression on microphones that goes through the
that's right.
The systems and stuff. When I was at C100, it was hilarious because a million years ago, they don't have that system now. But when I first started on the air there, the gate, they call it the gate on the microphone. Yeah. So it's like as soon as you start talking, it calibrates to your voice. But the compression, there was so much compression. Like it was, if you stopped talking at all, and I mean like just like for a second, you could hear the whole room go right through you. Yeah. And your voice was on the other side of the room. Yeah. It took me the longest time to get oriented because it was not here. It was over there. So microphones and processing and all those things, absolutely they can make a voice sound more pleasant. But ultimately, in my opinion, just my opinion, with all due respect, you guys don't have any control over this, and anybody else watching.
No,
it is a gender thing.
Yeah,
it's 100% a gender thing. Yeah. It's 100%.
So it's just it's a perception.
Why are women voting for Trump? Like, come on.
Yeah, really.
It's because I'm indoctrinated to understand I have to listen to a man. No, you don't. No, you don't. Stop listening to a man just because it's a man.
Okay.
I think she's coming over to show.
You've been in radio for 31 years.
Well, actually,
right?
I like that.
Like,
but you know what? I like that answer. And Nicolle, you tied a one-handed reef knot when he was trying to bust this out to get you because you were ready to go. That's the exact answer when I asked almost word for word that you said when we did the interview.
Is it? Oh.
Almost.
It's a long-held belief.
You even brought the Trump example.
And not only that, but see, you can speak with authority. You've been doing this for 31 years. How many radio stations were now? Have you done when you started in radio? Did you do most of your work in this area?
I started actually in the Valley.
No, but you were mostly in this area.
I've been on air here in Halifax.
So you can speak with authority. When you talk about, being underrepresented, I mean, you got to think now, we've got 15, 20 radio stations, FM stations here. I mean, I remember when back in 31 years ago, there was only, I could count them on one hand.
Yeah.
Right.
So how many jobs is available? You know what I mean?
Actually, Halifax is very progressive for female announcers. I have just as much female competition in the afternoon. But I mean, historically across the country, again, female led. There's Ruby Carr. She's amazing. I love Ruby.
And some
that are anchoring shows, and then they have male co-hosts. Or, like, I know that doesn't seem like much, but when it never happens, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
But TV is a little bit different, though. Would you say? Because you had Oprah, who really did that. Oprah, and then
Yeah.
Ellen, and then gosh, Kelly Clarkson's got her own show now. And there seems to be a lot of ladies on TV. So I don't know.
Right. But again, what are they doing? They have to host their own show. It has to be a daytime thing. I'm just saying, why can't there be more representation of female voiceover?
What about diversity?
Documentary, like documentaries and that type of programming is the area that I'd like to sort of extend into. I don't want to lose my job or anything, but I freelance work. I just want things to change a little bit more in a different direction.
But I think some of that too is the people that are hiring those people. It's kind of the same old, same old. They were taught by old, I don't want to say fat men, but in the
The
40s,
old guard.
50s, and 60s,
Yeah, the
and
old
it
guard.
hasn't progressed and it hasn't changed that much.
Sure.
And so it's still,
It's got a long way to go.
it does, and it's still
Yeah.
the same. Listen, I can tell you this right now, and you can punch me in the face as soon as I say it. First time I was asked to play with a female singer in a band, I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to play with a girl. Because I grew up listening to all the metal guys. Turned out, and you know Christine Bonzant, Chris, kick-ass singer, and she called me and she basically said, "You're an asshole." Straight up. And she goes, "I'm one of the best out there, and you're going to, okay, I'll do it." And you know what? It was one of those things where I deserved the slap in the face, right? So,
Man, people don't even think women like to rock.
well,
So I'm not allowed to.
Absolutely.
I'm not allowed to like Motley Crue and Dolly Parton. Like
Sure.
I can't have that. I can't. I have to be pigeonholed. I don't think
absolutely.
so,
Yeah, you're right.
right?
You're
You shouldn't
banging.
have to be. You shouldn't have to be sensational to be noticed as in your field. Of course, you shouldn't have to be. If you're sensational, that's great, but it shouldn't. You shouldn't have to be sensational just because you're a woman just to be noticed. I get that because
you shouldn't have to try much harder.
that's right.
Yeah,
You should
I
have
get you.
equal.
Right, well, the
but you're
that's
also
not gonna
talking
change
diversity
anytime
too. I mean, you got to talk diversity too. Now, there's not just women. Now, you got people. Ethnic diversity has to find their way in this. Like in NHL, you get the NHL hot the Punjabi hot stove. And
Which is
this
amazing.
It's just pretty cool, and it's a bunch of Hindu Canadians that are passionate about the game of hockey, and it's like it rocks. It rocks. You know what I mean? They got their own show, and the viewing numbers are astounding, and so they've that's pretty neat that's happened now. And when you think about women, it was pretty. In case you happen to notice, the linesman in the Super Bowl she was the first woman to be a linesman in a Super Bowl game.
Yeah, like
and
there's
so
lots
it's
of room for
starting,
women to
but there's a
move.
lot of room to go, and there's a lot of room
Break
to
that
go.
ceiling.
We have a woman vice president in the United States who she spent high school in Canada. I mean, it's happening, and I understand. I'm sure, like you said, you got this is your platform, and you want to. I think we're probably seeing it happen before our eyes to some degree. I think you're starting to see that.
I think if you want an education as to what women are dealing with, go to any public female who is dared to have an opinion. The other day, Tara Sloan, she posted.
She
something.
rocks, by the way.
Yeah, she rocks. Love Tara.
She's from
She
Halifax.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she go
She
minute, yeah.
posted something, and she showed screen grabs of the vitriolic comments that people were. Because God forbid a woman have an opinion and be in sports. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that the what is said. And people are okay with showing their faces and their names. Like, it's amazing to me that people think it's okay to talk to another human being just because it's on the computer and just because you have an opinion. Like, everybody's allowed to have an opinion, but like, keep it nice. Like, you don't have to be an animal about it. No. And scary, because if you're a woman, it is freaking scary. Let me tell you, like, when I leave the station, and I've never having any threats, but the reality is, I'm always aware when I'm in public and I'm leaving work or I'm at a public event. You have to always be aware of what's around you. Men don't live like that. They don't
you
ever
definitely
think about
more
that.
scrutiny. There's more scrutiny.
There's more
absolutely,
scrutiny about everything we do, everything we say, what we're wearing, how my hair is. I'm sure there's somebody that's got a comment about what I'm wearing tonight, whatever. Some of them might say it, some of them won't, right? But if you have an opinion on top of all that stuff, good luck. Just good luck. It's a
I
different
suppose
game.
if you really want to get you brought a good point. And if there's somebody who might be an expert in that, is beloved Cindy Day. I mean, she had a lot of haters and she had a lot of critics.
Lovely woman.
People used to criticize her fashion, her clothes, everything about her. Everybody had something to say.
Does anybody say anything about Steve Murphy?
No, but I mean,
Right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, I get it, right?
It's not the same
Oh,
for men and women.
you
It
know
just
what?
isn't.
And I'll chalk it up to a conversation I had the other day about this whole premier elect thing. So the political system in our country is that, you pick whatever party you're part of. If you're a member, you're the one that gets to pick who is going to be the leader of that, and then the rest of the country gets to vote that in. So a small group of people decides who everybody else gets to vote for. Now, you pay your money, you get to be a member. I made the comment to somebody, and they jumped all over me. I said, our political system is so out of date. It's so ridiculous because what happens is, and you see it today, there's a transition team. You go look down that list. I won't name names. I can't see how it's not going to be same of the same. So my point is it's great. You have change for a day, and then it just backslides to another 30 steps from where we are right now. And I think that's probably what you're alluding to, and I think that's probably what needs to change.
Yeah, well, I'm very hopeful that this pandemic, as much as it makes people so uncomfortable, and it has been devastating in many ways, change is uncomfortable, and it's time.
But it's
It is
necessary.
time for a lot of change to happen. People
it
need to
is changing.
stop trying to live like we used to, think like we used to. No more. Like, settle down and open up your mind, open up your heart, and like start thinking about. And I'm really proud. And we know what drives me nuts is people are always saying like, well, Nova Scotia, or it's just a population density. It's like North Dakota has the same population density as Nova Scotia. And they have the highest cases of COVID death and COVID infections in all of America.
But you
So don't tell me it has nothing to do. It's about attitude.
Yeah,
it's about mindset.
Exactly.
It's a lovely
Community.
segue. You said when you think about it, it's like the new normal, right? Well, the new normal might be something better than the old normal was when this is all
Right.
set to rest.
All right.
I mean, we've learned how to, some people it's rhetoric. Oh, we got to come together, and there's always those ones, the detractors, and there's the naysayers, and then there's the conspirators and all that. That's always going to happen. But our society has learned that you do more in the village. And like you said, like a lot of things are changing, and they're changing by necessity. And I think maybe I'm not saying the pandemic is a good thing. I'm not going down that, but
No.
what you do is it's what you do while the pandemic's here that determines
your
where we're going to
character.
go.
Yeah, it's character
and
building.
I
Learn
think
from it.
Character building. That's it, brother. Character
All
building.
right. Let's close your thoughts.
Well, to that note there, and somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, but Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, always used to say he would never ask somebody to do something that he wouldn't do himself, and that's what you're talking about, Mo. So I think people will get on board. If I say you and I are going to go shovel that driveway, and then I'm sitting on this step and I'm watching you do it, that's not leadership and whatever. So I think that's what you're talking about, and I think that's what everybody's looking for.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to tell me to stay the boys' home, then we should all be staying the boys' home, right? And that's not a shot. That's just what it
Do
is.
as I say, not as I do.
That's it.
Yeah,
And empower your fans. Empower people to know. Ask for what you want. Ask
listen
for
to them.
how they can help you. I mean, you guys, like your industry.
No, for sure.
How do you help entertainers? How do you inspire your fans to advocate for you? Because that's really what has to happen. A petition is good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more to it. You have
Well,
to go deeper.
I'm going to throw it out there right now. Mr. Ian Rankin, Premier-elect. We asked for a meeting with the old fella. It didn't happen. Here's your chance, bud. We don't want to do anything but offer up some ideas that might be helpful, so I'll throw that out there as my parting thought. Your parting thought, Dave?
Well, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, the fellow's from Cape Breton. He's a musician, plays the bagpipes. I mean, he should be on the show. Just
There you
saying.
go.
Sure. There you go.
There you go. That was nice.
Mr. Aucoin?
I've kind of run out of things to say, and that's pretty. I know, folks. You can quote that. No, really.
There must be some tickets to see.
Well, how about the roundabout's coming up.
The roundabout's coming up next week, and if you want to PM me, I'll send you a mask. There you go. No, seriously. The whole point of this is that, like, where we're going with this is how we're in it together. I've said it 1,000 times, but it's how it's a true sense of character how we get through this. I worry about the people who aren't doing so well in the industry, especially. There's people out there who have never had a gig in over a year, and they may never play again because by the time they can play, they've already lost their weatherall. And that breaks my heart. If I can help you, if I can record with you, I can write with you to bring you out of that. And for all those other people out there that are doing well, that's good. But there must be somebody that could use your might use something from you, or like, call somebody up that you haven't heard from in a while.
Appreciate
Write a
your
song with one
wisdom,
of your
man.
musical peers, something like that. Like,
I love your perspective, Mo. I do
Awesome.
all the time.
bring them up.
I'm gonna take the last word, but before I do, because there's two things that something that just came in here that I just want to end on, and I think it's really cool. Yes, Blake, all you want. I'm getting the last word, Dave. Nicolle, what would your parting shots? Just
I've said a lot.
you
tonight.
said a lot.
I don't really have anything else left to say.
No, that's great. Super happy you agreed to do this.
I do want to see you guys continue with it, but you don't have to, kill yourselves trying to reinvent the wheel every single week and all that stuff.
Don't burn out.
Don't burn out, because you won't be any good to anybody if you're burning out. I guess that's good. Yeah.
Well, this just in. I'm announcing my solo album tonight. I'm recording it at Maurice Aucoin Studio. What was that? Always going to be pitching them. Lori Little. I said it before. I'll say it again. You guys rock and are a great asset to our local music community. Please keep doing what you do. I must go to bed now because I'm older than most
Right,
of
Mike?
you. LOL. And on that note, I just want to thank the folks that are allowing us to do this. So that would be Monty's, the
Yes.
Parkside Pub, Capital Sports Bar, Dean Bow Harness, Say It With Stitches, E-Print It.
Molson Coors.
Channel Technologies, Molson Coors.
Yeah, Molson
Right?
Coors.
If we forgot anybody, we'll do better next time.
Jason, I mean, it makes some beautiful. Anyhow, it's the
Everybody,
same folks
yeah.
that
That's the
are part of
village.
our
That's
village.
the
That's
village.
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just cut out there.
So you know what? You cut out there. Did you say you cut out?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, Mo. The mute button finally worked. It's the K. It's the K. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. Dress to Kill this weekend. Monty's.
Yep.
Side Hustle. I forgot. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't say March 19th and 20th, the Frequency, Monty's.
Are you gonna let that cat out of the bag by any chance?
Cat out of the bag. It's the 20th is sold out. The 19th is very few tickets. Nancy at Monty's.ca to get your tickets for all that stuff.
Sweet.
That's it. Peace out.
We sure
Peace
appreciate
out.
you guys.
Look after one another.
Peace out.